So for the refuge vow, there are more extensive versions and more concise versions of that. And today we will have a concise version of the refuge vow, just pointing out the essence. More extensively, you can also find more material online. And now we just have a really short time. But so in terms of refuge and protection, so there is always an outer, inner, and a secret aspect. The outer aspect is our own body. On the inner level, there is our speech, and on the secret level is our mind. And when we take refuge, it is mainly the mind that needs to be protected. So the mind really goes for refuge. When we go for refuge, often we speak about the outer three jewels, But what's more important to understand is the inner three jewels, how these three jewels are within yourself. And so to put that into simple terms, it is written very in simple terms on a Refuge card that you will receive later. So for the Buddha it says, I take refuge in wisdom, the heart essence of the Buddha. So that is really the Buddha we take refuge in, is our own wisdom. And wisdom is our pure mind. The Buddha said, completely tame your own mind. So it's really you who has to protect yourself, your mind. You need to protect your mind through wisdom. And with wisdom, you understand that I do not want to suffer. I need a refuge that protects me from suffering. So with wisdom, you find a way to become protected from suffering. As you mentioned before, we also visualize the Hung syllable which we print on clothing, for example, and so on, to protect our mind, essentially. So right now, the essence of our mind, or what we find, is a self. But when you look at the nature of that, then there is nothing but space. And you see the ultimate truth where self and other do not exist. You see that with your inner wisdom, the inner Buddha. And then it says, I take refuge in love and compassion, the heart essence of the Dharma. In brief, the antidote to self-grasping is love. We need to cultivate love. If you only even have the slightest love, you will experience happiness. That is why we pray for sentient beings to be happy and have the causes of happiness. The only cause of happiness for all beings in the three realms is love. So that is the actual Dharma that you take refuge in. It is your own love and compassion. So love has to protect your mind. And with mindfulness, with wisdom, you recognize that. For example, if there are two companions, two friends, who love each other and who are able to be patient with each other, they will be happy. It's just the nature of things. So the Buddha you take refuge in is your own wisdom. The essence of the Dharma is your own love and compassion. And then for the Sangha, I take refuge in virtuous friends, the heart essence of companions. So it is the Sangha who shows us the Dharma. There are endless Dharma teachings. We speak about 84,000 different Dharma teachings. There are so many different antidotes because there are so many sentient beings. And understanding the essence of the Dharma really depends on a teacher. We need a teacher. Just like a little child first needs its mother, then it needs school teachers, and later one needs the country that protects its people. So we need some kind of protection. And of the different kinds of protection, our teachers are extremely precious because they teach us everything about the Dharma. So again, with wisdom, you are able to cultivate love and compassion and practice patience, and then also are able to rely on a teacher in both the mundane sense and the spiritual sense.
개개의 도지적으로 개개시 개개 제보에 다 상제리 그 제보까지는 심긴 탐지라 되어다 되고래 능이도 잘 거래 뒤로한테 콜어요래 대들이 개개 제보한테 되게 강하거든 득바지 않으면서 개가 벌써 속바지시래 오늘 득바는 강라 개와는 강라데 다야 좋아지나 니는 다 인우 이집트의 빵을 인우 이집트의 좋아데 득바리 득바데 다다 이름 판 오바다가데 꼬라장 동타랑 다다랑 철누고 그러지 그래 득바데 득바지 않으면서 지니는 노바다 르가 있으고네 노바 동전 용용기대 노바 마다한시 야 보통 가리 비싸다 대서 신을 정말 피고서 로드종을 넣으시 될 개와 보통 줘봤지 대지 가요래들은 설마 좀 말이지 같이 대화를 가서 비몽노반 담는 전도래 누가 진짜 못하는 갖고 샘그 피고 좀 요새 딜람지 때 차로르지 랑그 샘의 용서들 또 샘은 핀샘도 좀 성종 네 그들이 럭차리지 오 농샘도 빵고 어디 내가 뭐 농샘 빵고 어디 내가 앞으로 또 핀샘 삼을 피고 서 딜로 되면 나왔지 이제 대는 랑그 샘도 양도 들어들이 랑그 샘도 비 짱마 차그래지 샘도 짱마나지 샘 짱마 차정들이 다진 이메와 하고 그래서 샘 나가나지 차나 늘 상제 때문에 상제지 바데 니디 좀 미소 샘도 대로 무슨 짱마지 가봐 자나 로고지그래지 대는지 파미 샘처럼 설랑하디 링콩을 파피 샘처럼 대화랑을 토고요 되리 랑의 샘도 저때 상제 때 많이 송
So I take refuge in virtuous friends, the heart essence of companions. So these are all of our teachers, and the greatest of all teachers is the Buddha. And why is he the greatest of all teachers? It is because his aspiration is, may all sentient beings have happiness, and may they all be free from suffering. This is what makes him great. Also in our refuge card, and it says, do not commit any wrong, perfectly practice virtue. So what is wrong and what is virtue, if you were to ask that question? And that is on the other side of our refuge card. So it says, when harm to others and its cause are abandoned, the vows of personal liberation are complete. So what is wrong is to harm others. That is wrong, this card here is speaking about. And when you harm others, then the harm will always come around because self and others don't exist. So it goes around in circles. If you harm others, you're essentially harming yourself. And so therefore, when we take refuge, we are instructed to try not to harm others with body, speech, and mind. And then perfectly practice virtue. It says here, when help to others and its cause are accomplished, the vows of bodhisattvas are complete. So that is virtue. That is to practice virtues, to benefit others as much as you can. And so when it comes to benefiting others, it's actually not the outer body and speech that are most important, but it's the mind. On the outer level, it will, of course, be difficult to always benefit everyone and never harm anyone, even if that's what you want. But in your mind, you should always have the wish to benefit others. And so this is the Buddha's teachings. It again says in our refuge card, completely tame your own mind. This is the Buddha's teachings. So taming your own mind means to cultivate an altruistic mind. If you just have that, it is actually sufficient. So have an altruistic mind and abandon a wish to harm others, abandon harming others, and never separate from the wish to benefit others. So this is how you tame your own mind. This is how you purify your own mind so it becomes pure like water. And when a mind has become completely purified, you recognize that self and others do not exist separately because the mind is just like space, all-pervasive. So this is the essence of the Buddha's teachings. It is ultimately to realize the nature of the mind where self and others do not exist separately. For example, if you have 100 phones, they are all powered by the same electricity. And so for this reason, because there is really no separation between self and others, if you send out a negativity, again, a negative state of mind toward others, then that is what will come back to you. And if you send out altruism towards others, then happiness will come back to you. So this is the Buddha's teachings.
사제 때바 이는 사게 가래 사제 때바리들 니는 니기 다낭조는 아동상지 라그 셈지 삼지했다 말은 비세도 장마차도 세도 장마차도 다지 니메와 셈지기 뭐 대하고 something 들이 저거 직장이요 말이 들이 제제 그냥 제요 제요 말이 제들은 차로들 제레디 저들 라리지 그래 들이 라시 바들이 중매가 중탑 제들어 라시리 들이 내주 당상 중에 세도 딱 봐서 안 돼요라 들이 참아 라리지 오 세븐이 직장 말이 득바라다 그래 득바라데 세면이 샘때 상제레디 샘때 샘이 얘네 상제지랑 이 하고서 딱 내가 로레데 득바라다 소바카리 고시 당거라 저레데 제 로버를 들어가리면서 그 샘이 이래 쏘아요 말이지 들이 참아 라리지 다 상하게 좋아 당겨도 나와 탐지 라리지 잡아 탐지 나리 들이 참아 상제지 상시 감레지 생각 무슨 르비아 요래 네 동담 대만은 통소나 들이 참아신 감은 통구요래 대만을 본 거는 이제 시에게 요래 들이 잡동디 도도 장장 들도 다디 편랑이가 반응 상황이 되어 되래야
And so in the Refuge card, it says this is the Buddha's teachings. So again, also on the Refuge card, it then says, when one is skilled in a pure perception of the universe and all beings, the vows of secret mantra are complete. When you never separate from love, your mind becomes very pure. When the mind becomes very pure, you will realize that there are no self and others, that we all have one mind. When you understand that, you will also naturally understand that there are no demons. That question arose yesterday about demons. There really are no demons. There is not a single demon that really exists. We can say that an ice block is a demon and water is like a god. And God here means flawless. So having a pure perception of the universe and all beings means that if you have love always for all beings, you will see all beings as the deity. For example, when you look at a scorpion, even the mind of a scorpion is a Buddha. It has the same mind. All beings are primordially Buddhas. And so why does the scorpion then appear in this dreadful form? It is because it is said a scorpion, for instance, is a natural manifestation of anger, of hatred. However, this is only a temporary state. Fundamentally, this is not the scorpion's true nature. The scorpion also possesses Buddha nature. So when you really understand the Vajrayana, you will begin to perceive all appearances as the deity, and you will hear all sounds as the mantra. Wherever you go will be a pure land. Whoever you meet will be a deity. When you see the ultimate truth, everything really becomes a pure land. Milarepa also taught on that in the 100,000 songs of Milarepa that we often mention. So everything, all of that, in essence, is contained in the Refuge card.
아니 나 잡주 도마 탑처리가 나그 잡주 도마 쉬어디 가리거리 오 나그 잡주 도마 쉬고르디 장자를 아니 이가 잡고르디 미신지 답이 잡고르디 신지 답이 잡고 째와 고르디 내가 견딘 바래 그러니 다 네 총총 주는 그만 잡주 도마 주세는데 때기로 다 등상들 때가면 고주 도로 띠도다 같이 따가면 들이들은디 근데 같이 하는데 때기로 내는 되니 찍바래 내일은 나 견딘 바이지 나 고토 제정 말이지 내 이는 너 봤다 아닌 거 말이지 나 평생 공에 참으로 같이 거래지 내가 가서 제면 생고 찌하고 그래 나 견딘 바이는 찌하고 그래 세지 당신 찌하고 그래서 제지 이제 다야 들이 들이는 피하려 그러잖아.
And so once you have taken the refuge vow, then you have this awareness, I have now taken the refuge vow. And what does that mean? It means I must protect myself and also others. And how can I do that? In order to protect myself and others, I must give rise to love. Now that I have taken the refuge vow, I have become a Sangha. So there is this small pin here that in the past, Rinpoche said I would always give that to everyone who's receiving the refuge vow. That pin also contains the liberation by seeing mantra. Now we don't really pass that out much anymore. And even if I pass it out, often people don't really wear it anyways. But anyways, we only have a few left. And so today I'm passing those out again. And the mantra and what is printed on the T-shirt and so on, it is all the same liberation mantra. And you wear that close to you as a reminder, I am a Sangha. I must not get angry at others. I must not harm others. I must have a wish to benefit others. I must help others. I must give love to others. So being a Sangha in essence means I must have love for all sentient beings. So this little pin that you will receive is a reminder of this.
자다가 아마게더니 속지 주고 잘라만 자다는 무슨 고만은 요 데리 이 아마게 가리 까지는들이 자다 공을 남겨서 들이 로주요래 속지 주고 잘라만 콜로요라 데리 자다가 막이 아마라게 가리 싸움하잖니 아마 공을 잘해 자고 그것을 남겨 말이 되게 제로지들이 데리 특히 자시요 말 아마게 자다 공도 아마게 자다 나가야지. 근데 가동지 토로지 마. 가동지 그런 것도 자다 들이 자고 생는 패송 타디 들이 자다 로종하더니 가동지 참는 용탈 되는 가동지 참는 자다 생식을 돼. 자다 그더니 가동지 남겨래. 다다된 순간 공부 지고 자나마 되는데 로지테레 되디 사사가 조금 거 봐다 좋을 거 봐. 내요래. 들이 라니 속디만 되다. 네 내면은 무슨 처음에 사자를 계시지래 옛날에는 공지 동사도 포과된 데는 무슨 지복세 그 나도 보통들이잖아만 네 라니 소디만데 로 되게데 근데 망도 로는 들이다네 어떤 네 포과들한 게 도통 포과도 빠토는데 통한 무슨 롱송 가리가 된다는 거 보는지 뭐 다티 그것을 하고 또 비상지 방송적인 대화를 들으면서 빠디야 그 콩고 봐다던데 지야리 같이 온데 그때 도민이 말이라고요. 대토게 배 꼭가래다다 라마도 꼭봐 지야리 빠는데 내서 말이라고요. 내서 정말 속본데 풍부지는 네 강과도 원도 난 샘들 좋아요 말이 말해서 샘시야요 말이 샘시야면들이 주권을 놓고 또 나만한테 저런 거래 대다 그러더니 다다 빠디지라 tan가도 문이래 상나들이 다다 저기 너무 tan가게 송주고요 라마고 송주 말에 대도 저를 한가 고통 독된 잠시 문이래 상나 문이 말이서 저기 조고를 시고 지는 풍부는 문이 강파도 뭐는 풍부는 문이 말이 라마한테 거빠노 라마는 문이래 저기는 돈 라마는 문이에서 라마는 문이 톡들이 대 문이를 제발로 뭐 대고도 샘시야 말이 죽고 따도 나팔 대요리 제대 말을 배송요리 고 샘시야 요 말이지 나팔을 냠디고 호스 조나가 가르쳐도 저도 가디 콜이 치우네 그래서 왔다는 거 생문이 좀 차트 그래서 말을 배송요리 대더니다 대사바더니 나더니 그렇지 소리래 대답 아침 모레 되는
So then there is an image of the Lhasa Chowo, a statue that was it goes back to the time of Gar Dongzhen. Gar Dongzhen was a minister who brought the Chinese princess to Tibet, and when she came to Tibet, she brought a few gifts of dowry with her, such as a representation of enlightened body, which was this Chowo statue. And then also she brought the Gyanama prayer wheel. Apparently that was given by her mother. and then offered to the king, but really was kept by Gar Dongzhen eventually, because after the king had passed away, so she was the king's wife, and after the king had passed away,
she, the queen, then stays in Gar Dongzhen's home for 15 years until her own death.
And she gave him the Gyanama prayer wheel, and that prayer wheel is actually now installed at Gar Monastery at the present day. So that's that image, and then there is the 37 Bodhisattva practices which you will receive. And at the end of the little booklet, there is a picture of the practice cave of the author who wrote the 37 practices, Ngulcho Tome, who was a Sakya master. And so when I was young and I read the 37 Bodhisattva practices many times, I had memorized it. I was still not moved to tears as much as when I saw that picture of that cave. When I saw the picture of that cave, it really moved me to tears. And why? It was really the blessings of this great Bodhisattva who wrote this text and who had practiced there. I made a connection to his great love, and that is what I felt. And that is why I really wanted to add this particular image into to that book. So that's an image of the practice cave of Ngulcho Tome. And then in the middle of there, we drew a picture of Ngulcho Tome. And so it's not a real photograph, obviously, it's an image drawn. And so because it's not a real photograph, some people may say that, oh, that's not really Ngulcho Tome. But actually, to think that way is really very stupid, actually, because we think that just because it's written, that's not what it really is. Or we see a tanka and we say, that's not really the deity, or that's not really the Lama. Actually, what we are looking at is just a body. The body is just like an empty house. And what's more important is the mind. The mind will never change or never die. Like Milarepa also said before he left his body, that the mind cannot die. The mind continues on as the Dharmakaya, or may manifest as Sambhogakaya or Nirmanakaya. So all these different images, these photographs or things we see on a tanka, different paintings, they are the real deity or the real guru. And if you recognize that, there actually have been stories of, for example, Tara images giving teachings to Lama. There are many stories like that, but those images then begin to speak to one. So all of these representations of enlightened body, speech, and mind should be really seen as the actual Buddha, the actual deity. If one thinks that that's not the real thing, then one really focuses only on the physical body. And again, the physical body is just like an empty house. It really has no substance. And the same actually goes also for the live stream or the online or recording. That's also the real Lama, what you see on the screen. Because the actual Lama is the Lama's enlightened mind. And that mind can never die. Before Milarepa left his body, he said to his disciples, I cannot die, and I will continue to pervade the 5 elements like space, all pervasive like space. Whoever supplicates me with trust, I will be with them, inseparable from their mind. So that is also very important. And so because this image of Ngulcho Tome's practice cave has a lot of blessings, I wanted to add that to the 37 Bodhisattva practices booklet. And so we made a new print of that, and I would like to offer that to you today as a gift.
모람자 남겨요래 배는 다 들이 전화가 됐다 기초 인식 잡질라 그런 고고요래 잡아도 이거는 길대 조고요 말이 문제 됐는데 작가가 막고 란들이 막고 첨보요 가고 패요래 가고 패 공부에 또 왔다 그래 송무싱진은 공파 되냐도 없이 고파 체모도 정정도데 옛날 추초 니시 잡질라 추도 니리레 가지니 고반들이 다 추도 앙당보레 그solpe 저 고문 청압지 지향이 받아야 요지 대다 시요레 이 자카케 켈리뇨레 대다오 레데.
And then also you will have a little piece of your hair clipped, and your hair will go into this little pouch. And then at some point all the hair will be sent to Tibet to the prayer wheel. We just mentioned the Gyanama prayer wheel. And once the hair reaches there, the monks there make prayers over the different hairs that we have accumulated continuously by spinning the prayer wheel 24 hours a day, non-stop. There's always a monk there spinning the prayer wheel. It never it never goes, it never is still. It always turns. And that's really very special. In the past, there was actually a Chinese official, a general, who came to visit Garchen Monastery one time, and he really praised the monastery for that prayer wheel. He said that in this province of Qinghai, there are around 700 monasteries, large and small, but this is the only one that actually engages in a virtuous activity all the time, 24 hours, by spinning that prayer wheel. And that is why he said, you are really the best monastery, and he promised to
make a monetary gift of 500,000 yen to the monastery.
So this prayer wheel was even recognized by the country.
상제 마탑자 받아 잡을 놓아 이제 이나가 탑이더라. 잡을 놓아 제대 상마제 받아 잡을 놓아 이제.
디치보 제대 제거라.
네. 디치보라. 탑이면 돼. 상제 줘서
Okay, so then next we come to repeating the refuge vow. And so Rinpoche would like us to repeat that prayer we have in the yellow prayer book. And so after we have repeated that, also think that I'm going for refuge until I attain enlightenment. And then Rinpoche will say, Tap which means this is the method. And in response to that, we will say Lexo or excellent.
오 상제 주당 조지 조남라 장첩바르드 다네 잡서지 닭그 짐소 짐비 소남지 로라 빈서 상제 르바쇼.
Then please repeat. Sorry, that's on page number 4. On page number 4 in the yellow prayer book. Yeah. Okay. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by the merit of generosity and the other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. So then next Rinpoche will say Tap which means this is the method. And so in that moment, now think that now I am receiving the refuge vow. And then in response to that, say Lexo, which means excellent. And then after that, you can come up one by one and you will have your hair clipped. So Rinpoche said that he himself can't really clip the hair, but Khenpo Tenzin will help with that. So please come up and then you will receive your various gifts.
다른 장류 통마 토리 정도 지와 체력 관리 가능성은 탑독된 자공도 마저가 받들고 소소 그다 보자 그래 돼. 들고 소소는 다 보자 그래 돼. 내가 토리 좀 대화당. 전 탑독 상지 마토 저도 토리 좀 대화라 롱주 그래 다 대화시는 돼.
And so for the benefits of taking refuge, once you have taken the refuge vow, from this day onward, in all future lifetimes, wherever you go, the three jewels will protect you until the ice block of the mind has completely melted. Temporarily, you will always take birth in the three higher realms, and ultimately you will attain enlightenment. And until you attain enlightenment, you will always enjoy the happiness of the higher realms. So these are the benefits in brief.
열와 근지 지서 럽절 때 상보 주바 용서 도지쟁 첫점 주바 전미 용다바 다들 매년 주미 주바쇼.
Following all the victorious ones, may I train, bringing excellent conduct to complete perfection and engage in wholly pure, flawless discipline that never lapses and is free from faults.
지왕대당 체럽 탐제든 그 조선보 남양면자신 주서 소랑 방마미바이
In this and all future lives, may I never be separated from the three jewels. For the sake of the Dharma, may I even give away my life and work for the benefit of beings with great determination.
산촉심조 린포체 마지바나 지절직 지바냠바 미바양 공내 공드 배와소.
May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase, higher and higher.
제정체럽 탐제득 nhân民者 공人经济 定办处长门者行 빠르디라미진지쇼.
In this and all future lives, may I never be separated from the supreme teachings of the unequaled Drikungpa Rinchen, and may glorious gurus take me into their care.
제와 꿈도 양다람마당 달미추제 빨라 롱조쟁 사당 남지용 띠랍조네 독지 정글 공방열 도쇼.
In all rebirths, may I never be separated from authentic gurus may I enjoy the glories of the Dharma, and having fully perfected the qualities of the bhumis and paths, may I swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara.
戒行戒瓦达呢，他们戒的，人上路上啊，戒没法当，人戒戒经拉嘛拉规定，把地拉嘛他们这拉呢说。
In this and all my future lives, may I be born in a good family, be endowed with clear intellect, be free from pride, be greatly compassionate and devoted to the Guru. May my samaya with the glorious Guru remain firm.
工商多见强气民切长，人机早为了嘛人切记，若为中东梦浪刚大吧，铁大堂见日等着就是。
Whatever aspiration prayers have been made for the sake of sentient beings, from the great Samantabhadra Vajradhara on down to the kind root gurus, may they all be swiftly accomplished.
Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate the Bodhisattva Chenrezig.
Joy.